guys, so today's video is going to be my foundation collection video. Foundation is my weakness when it comes to makeup. Whenever I go to explore a new brand, I often check out their foundation products first. I don't know why, it's just my kryptonite when it comes to makeup. Now today specifically I'm going to be showing you guys liquid foundations, and I have a foundation stick as well. I figured powder foundations could be a different video altogether if you guys enjoy this one enough. So I keep all of my makeup in this tray, which I have in my IKEA drawer closet thing. I got this tray from Daiso for $2.80, and it just holds all my foundations really well. I keep a few foundations still in their boxes if I've told myself I have to finish one of these before I can open one of those. So yeah, that's kind of how my system works. So a lot of my foundations are high-end or like the more expensive brands. That's because here in Australia drugstore brands just don't go very dark, so I often just can't find my shade in a drugstore, so I end up splurging and getting it at like Mecca, Cosmetica or MAC or somewhere like that. So the first foundation I have here is my Rimmel London Wake Me Up foundation, and this is in the shade 400 Natural Beige, which is just way too light for me. I thought I could make it work by like bronzing up my skin afterward and stuff like that, but it still didn't work. It gave me like a really ghostly white cast look, and I'm pretty sure this is a cool undertone because it just made me look really odd. I got a half price though, like I didn't go and like spend $25 or $30 on it. And I'll show you guys the other foundations I have that are too light for me, and then I'll show you how I make them work. So the other foundation I have that's too light for me is my L'Oreal True Match in the shade W7 Golden Amber, I think. I recently got this one off eBay and it was too light for my skin. I tried googling like the equivalent shade in L'Oreal True Match for NC45 from MAC, which is what I get from MAC. And I saw the swatch and I had like both the colours next to it and it matched. So I was like, alright, cool, let's get this one. And it is just way too light for me. Again, like I'd say it's probably a similar shade to this one, like it's just that light for me. So yeah, these two foundations are way too light for me, and they're both drugstore ones, hence why I don't really buy a lot of drugstore foundations. But to make these two work, I try to mix them in with my Clinique CC cream in the shade Deep. I also got this online off eBay. The shade up from this, which I think is called Medium Deep, is sold in Australia, and that's a little bit too light for me. So I was like, let's find out if there's a darker shade sold overseas. There was, so I got it. And this is a little bit too dark for me. So I try and mix it in with these two to make it work, but that's like an extra trick than just having something that suits your skin. So I do this very, very rarely, like when I'm just playing around with makeup usually. But yeah, so those are three of my liquid foundations that I own. So talking about the CC cream, I thought I would go through kind of my tinted moisturizers and BB creams. So I have two BB creams, one from Bobbi Brown and one from MAC. The MAC one is in the shade Dark Plus, which I think is like their darker shade. And it's a really like, I'll show you guys. Like it suits me, but it's like this quite like, oops. It's there. Can you guys see it? So like it suits me, but it's like got a really odd undertone. It's like an ashy brown. It's really, I find it really odd. Like it's not a rich brown, which is the kind of skin color that I am. It's just like, I don't know, a really mute brown. So I rarely wear it just because I feel like it makes me look tired. I don't know. And the other one I have is from Bobbi Brown, and this is in the shade Dark. Again, the shade up from this was too light for me, so I went for the shade darker. Being a BB cream, I thought in case I tan, I can use this one. However, it's like not a bad colour for me, but the fact that you guys can probably see it means it's just, I don't know. The thing is, this one's really rich. It's really rich brown, whereas the MAC one's really ashy, so maybe I should mix these two together. I don't know. But yeah, so they're the two BB creams I have. Obviously both high-end because BB creams, like, they have a dark shade, but they're just never that dark. They're for like tan Aussies. They're not for brown people, so it is what it is. I mean, I really wish drugstore brands here kind of realize that there is a market for darker people. I mean, I'm not even that dark. Like, I don't know how girls darker than me really deal with it, like always having to go to MAC and places like that. And my other like non-foundation but still a foundation is my NARS Radiant Tinted Moisturiser. I love this. I use it almost every day. I am in the shade Cuba Medium 3. Yeah, like I said, I wear it every day to work. Great colour for me. I love it, I love it. It suits me so well. Like, I use this legit every day and I don't really know what I'd do without it. And the great thing is that it's 50 mils. Pretty much every other foundation I have is 30 mils. This one's 50, so it lasts a lot longer, which is great because you do end up using it every day. And I've been told that the NARS tinted moisturisers just have a great colour range. They actually like suit people's skin tones. So yeah, people my colour, definitely go out and get this one for an everyday like tinted moisturiser. It is my favourite. So I have two like non-liquidy foundations. The first is the Bobbi Brown foundation stick. This is a really good colour for me. It's in the shade Warm Honey 5.5. It probably looks a little bit light, but once you put it on and like I use Real Techniques Expert Face Brush to buff it into my skin, it looks really good. Yeah, that's like, I don't know, a non-liquid foundation that I really love to use. And another like non-liquid foundation that I like to use is the NARS Radiant Cream Compact Foundation. I am in the shade Medium Dark 3 Cadiz. So you kind of buy this thing separately and you buy this like your colour separately, so it's like refillable. And that's my shade there. I can't really say much about this yet because I haven't used it. But that's it there. I based the shade of this off my NARS Sheer Glow shade, so hopefully it all actually syncs together. I did swatch it in store and you can see I probably swatched it when I got home just to make sure. Yeah, I can't really say much about it because I haven't used it yet, but I am excited to use that. NARS, like I said before with the tinted moisturiser, they have a great colour range and they're fairly consistent. Like, this tinted moisturiser is in the shade Medium 3 and then this is in the shade Medium Dark 3, so they kind of like mix them all together so you know what shade you are all the time. Sorry guys, I can see myself getting really shiny in the viewfinder there. It is like 40 degrees today in Sydney and I decided to film with my bedroom door closed so that my parents couldn't hear me, so I'm just going to sit in this heater of a room and film for you guys. So I kind of went on a bunch of tangents then. I went through drugstore foundations that don't suit my skin tone, I went through BB creams, and I went through like non-liquid foundations that I keep with my liquid foundations. I think no, it's totally not the last drugstore one I have, but this is a drugstore foundation. It's from Australis and it's their Stayput foundation with SPF 15 and I am in the shade Golden Tan. Yes, Golden Tan. Now you wouldn't expect it. This is the darkest shade they have. When you first swatch it, it looks too light, but it tends to like oxidize or whatever and it becomes, whoops. And as I was saying, it turned to like my skin tone. It matched me really well. I was thoroughly impressed. I actually wrote to Australis. I'm like, I'm so happy like a drugstore foundation that is my shade, well, becomes my shade. Like, no negatives to say about this Australis Stayput foundation. It's great. Like I said, this is their darkest shade, so anyone darker than me, I don't know if it will oxidize to like your level, but it's definitely worth going to check out, so yeah. And the last lot of drugstore foundations I have are from Revlon. I have the Revlon Colourstay foundation. This was my first ever liquid foundation. I got it off eBay and I was so lucky. I literally just guessed my shade colour based off the picture. Like, I didn't know how to Google for it or anything, and this shade suited me so well. I was so impressed. I used it all the time when I first started wearing makeup a couple years ago, and I still have it. There's about half of it left because obviously then I started to buy more and this one just kind of got left alone. So it's the combination oily skin one and I'm in the shade 380 Rich Ginger. If you go check out my really old videos, you'll probably see me using this a lot. It's a great foundation. At that time everyone was raving about Revlon Colourstay, so I really wanted to try it out. Again, the local drugstores didn't have it, so I had to go online and got it off eBay. I think I got it from the UK. The UK often has my shade, so yeah. And one that I could get in Australia was the Revlon Nearly Naked foundation. So the weird thing is they had like all the shades that they usually do and then one really dark shade, so I got two of them in the shade Toast and Cappuccino so that I can mix them together and figure out like my best match. I often end up using 2/3 this and 1/3 the darker one, and it suits me pretty well in the end. I guess the downside to that is that obviously this one will end first, but like you saw earlier, I have foundations that are too light for me, so I'll probably just try and use this one to darken those ones up. That's probably the only time I've seen a drugstore have a foundation for dark people, and it was like one shade, which was a bit ridiculous. Like, you know, you can't just be like, okay, so this is for everyone, you know, it's gonna suit all of you. Like, obviously all of us went out and bought like 2 so we could mix them together and see what happened. So yeah. So some foundations I still have boxed up, so I can't really talk about them. The Hourglass Illusion Tinted Moisturiser. I actually purchased this to use once my NARS Tinted Moisture was finished. I got this in the shade Warm Beige. She put it on me in store. It's a pretty good match, felt really nice. By the time I got home I was still like pretty impressed with how it looked. So yeah. And then I also have MAC Face and Body. Now this is in the shade C5 and I got it from IMATS. And I got it from a girl my colour. But then the other day at MAC I kind of just asked the girl, I'm like, you know, if I were to ask you to match me for your face and body foundation, like what shade would you go for? And she was like, well, I'd have to try it on you. I'm like, you know, of course you'd have to try it on me, but just give me an idea. And she was like C9. I was like, I got sold C5. She was like, well, that's like way too light for you. So that's it there. I mean, I thought it would oxidize or something because she sold it to me and all of the shades that they had looked this dark, this like shade range. So I don't know what that girl was on, the one who sold me this, but I wore it a couple of times and my mum was like, yeah, your foundation's a bit light. I was like, I don't know what to do. This is the shade they gave me. I found MAC do that quite a bit. Like, if they don't have your shade, they'll just kind of like pawn off another shade onto you, which I think is pretty bad because then like people just don't want to come back to you. Like, now I'm stuck with this. I'll probably Google and find out like what shade this suits so that whenever I do people's makeup, maybe I can use this on them. I don't know. And lastly, I have my Burberry Velvet Foundation in the shade Trench number 208. This is the most perfect foundation, which is why it's still in its box. I pull it out every now and then out of its box, use it, and put it back in. I'll show you guys it. It's just so pretty, and it's the best shade match for my skin. Like, it might not look like it, it might look a bit light, but it is like the perfect match for my skin. I'm in love with this foundation. You know how everyone's been raving about the Giorgio Armani Lumino Silk foundation lately? Like, this is that, but for me. Like, I'm just in love with it. It's my high-end one that I just treat like my baby. It's just my favourite. And I only have 6 more foundations to show you guys, so I'll just like run through them and tell you what I think about them. First up is my Urban Decay Naked Skin Weightless Ultra Definition Liquid Makeup, and I am in the shade 8. Now, I got this over in Sephora in Malaysia. I colour matched myself, so I am really happy with this. It suits me so well. I have a few videos where I've used this. Enough of that. Okay, so yeah, I love this foundation. I would repurchase it in a heartbeat. My mum's actually going back to Malaysia in a few weeks, and I was like, should I ask her to get me a backup? But there's just so much left in here. I've only used like this much, so it'll last me a while. Like, probably by the next time she goes, then I might ask for another one. But for now, I'm using this one. I absolutely love it. It has pretty good coverage for like a naked skin foundation. It's just great, and this colour suits me really well. I found I'm talking mostly about whether the colour matches me or not. I think it's just because it's a big problem in Australia where you just can't get shades for Indians or like darker skinned people. So this is what I found that works. So at Kit Cosmetics / Mecca Maxima, Mecca Cosmetica as well, I think. So they all sell Smashbox, and this is the Liquid Halo HD foundation, and again I'm in the shade 8. This is a great foundation. I used it throughout my sister's wedding on myself. It stayed, it matched me perfectly, it didn't give me that white cast and flash photography. It was amazing. Like, it was my go-to foundation for a few weeks there. I even took it to New Zealand recently because I just trusted it that much. So yeah, it's a really good foundation. I would suggest this to anyone. And the shades do get darker. I think it goes up to 10 or 11. I could be wrong, but it definitely got darker. Like 8 was not the darkest one, so yeah. The next foundation I have can also be found at Mecca Cosmetica, and it's the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. Again, I'm in the shade Medium Dark 3 Cadiz, same as my Cream Compact foundation. This is a great match for my skin. At first, I didn't like the finish it gave me because it sunk into all of my pores. So I started using Benefit's Professional as a primer, and after that it sits really well. I really like this foundation now. It's amazing. I can see why everyone raves about it, and like I said, this colour is a really good match for my skin, like you guys can probably tell. Obviously these are all fairly expensive ones, the ones that I'm really raving about, but it's definitely worth it, especially with a foundation. Like, unless you wear it every day, I wouldn't suggest that you go and get an expensive one because you're going to be like going through them really quickly. but like the NARS Sheer Glow, I don't use it that often, and like especially the Smashbox HD liquid one, like I use it for my sister's wedding. I use it for like occasions where I just want to trust that I look okay and it's not melting off my skin. So I really like this one. It's got a lovely finish, and I often use a powder on top just to mattify it a little bit so it's not so glowy. It says Sheer Glow, but it covers up things on my skin quite well. Like I have a few dark spots and stuff, and this covers it like enough that I don't feel like I have to wear concealer if I don't want to. So next foundation is from Benefit. It's their Hello Flawless Oxygen Wow Brightening Makeup, and I am in the shade I'm Hopelessly Hot Hazelnut. I'm wearing this one now and I love it. It suits me really well. It gives me a lovely finish. It makes my skin glow. I have nothing negative to say about this, and I'm actually not wearing concealer. I'm only wearing a powder on top, which doesn't even like add any coverage. So you can see that like this foundation kind of covers up what you need to cover up. It's really good foundation and it suits me really well. And the shades do get darker. They have Nutmeg, which is the shade darker than this, and that's the darkest they go. And that's more like an NC50, I'd say. So I'm NC45, so it's just a shade up. So they do get darker, which is always good. I don't really know what else to say about this. I really like it. The price point isn't too bad. I think it's $50-something. So it's not as bad as like NARS, which is like $70. Next I have a foundation from the Makeup Store, and this is their matte foundation in the shade Sand. Now I picked this one up at iMats, and they only had like a very limited range, so I was quite impressed that one of the ones that they brought with them suited my skin tone. So this is the shade Sand. It looks a little bit light for me, but once you buff it in and stuff, it actually matches really well. The thing I found with foundation, which has just come to mind now, like I'm lighter here and then obviously darker here and stuff, and because I have dark spots, my skin looks darker than it is. So when people match me to like a shade that looks a little bit too light for me, they're actually matching me to like the lighter parts of my skin. Because in India it's like a thing to have like fair skin, so they think, I don't know if it's because they think I'm Indian, I want the lighter shade, but I don't mind the lighter shade or the dark shade, as long as it suits me in the end, I'm happy. So yeah, the Makeup Store foundation has a great coverage. It's really like a thin consistency, which I like, so it's really easy to quickly like buff over your skin and won't dry too quickly. What else do I have to say about this? It's got a pump, which is always good. I like it. I've talked about so many foundations now I can't even think. I do like this one. I would repurchase it. Let's put it that way. I would repurchase it. And one that I haven't opened yet, but I didn't realise until I picked it up just now, is the Illamasqua Skin Base Foundation, and I'm in the shade SB14. She put this on me in the store, and I was so impressed. You do not need concealer with this foundation. But it doesn't make you look cakey or anything. It's just a very full coverage foundation. So obviously it's still wrapped up, so I can't say too much about it, but based off my experience in the store, matched me really well, covered everything I wanted it to cover. So yeah, that's one that I haven't opened yet, I didn't realise. And my favourite? Ooh, that's a toughie. Like if I could only have one foundation and I had to use that all the time. I think it would have to be the Urban Decay one, Urban Decay Naked. I think if I could only have one foundation, it would be this one. I think I would be happy. Yes, I would. Yeah, no regret there. I would be happy if this was my only foundation for the rest of my life. So people should go out and get this one because it's my favourite. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to comment below and let me know what they are, and I will get back to you if I have an answer for you. Aside from that, if you guys did enjoy this video, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will speak to you guys soon. Let me know if I should do like a powder foundation or just any other mini collection videos that you guys would like to see. I think this one got requested from a girl that said she was my skin tone, so she wanted to know what other foundations I had, which is why I mostly spoke about which ones match me and which ones don't. So if you guys want to see anything else that I have, like my concealers or powder foundations or anything, just let me know, because I like to fulfill requests. I like to get them done because then I'm actually giving you guys what you guys want, and not just like producing just crap. So, and I'm not like producing things that no one wants and no one will see. Like, I'm actually giving you guys what you want. So yeah, it makes me happy.
That's my